planet Earth has enormous amounts of energy resources. The usage of energy by human beings dates back to several centuries. Energy is the capacity to perform work. We use various forms of energy to do work. The total quantity of usable energy available to people is called as the energy supply. Energy is of many kinds, as electrical energy, kinetic energy, mechanical energy, and chemical energy. Electrical energy operates on several appliances like pump sets, fans, grinders, vacuum cleaners, washing machines, and other industrial equipment. Heat energy is used to cook food on stoves, shape metals, make bricks, and for several industrial processes requiring heat as a major factor or as a catalytic factor. Similarly, mechanical energy is used for many activities like moving vehicles, lifting and breaking materials, handling and aligning objects. Energy may be obtained directly from an energy source, or it may be obtained indirectly. Energy is derived from one or more than one source. The chief sources of energy are fossil fuels, flowing water, biomass, and atomic minerals. In addition, solar energy, wind power, tidal energy, chemical and geothermal power also provide some amounts of energy. The sources and use of energy by the population differ from a developed country to a developing country. It depends on the energy resources available with them. Not all continents have all the needed energy resources. These resources are classified into two major groups as renewable and non-renewable energy sources. Renewable sources are those which will be available for our human consumption again and again. The energy derived from water as hydroelectric power, the energy derived from sun as solar energy, and the energy derived from wind as wind energy are renewable energy resources. The non-renewable energy resources are those which are permanently consumed for generating the energy and needs further supply. Fossil fuels like coal, oil, gas, fissionable materials for nuclear power generation, and geothermal sources come under this category of non-renewable energy resources. In this episode, the energy resources are discussed under the following modules. Number 1, energy from fossil fuels. 2, energy from sun and wind. 3, energy from water. 4, energy from biomass. 5, energy from nuclear and other sources. Let us see the energy from fossil fuels. About 85% of the world's commercial energy comes from coal, oil, and natural gas. These are called as fossil fuels since they have been developed from the fossilized remains of prehistoric plants and animals. The use of these sources depend on their availability in a country. Coal is made up of organic material which has escaped from oxidation in the carbon cycle. It is an altered residue of plants and trees of older forests which have been buried under sediments, and they were subjected to a set of geological processes and transformations. Coal is burned to create heat to turn water into steam. The steam is then used to rotate turbines which will rotate the dynamos to generate electricity. It is also converted into another usable form called coke. It is a charcoal-like solid which is an essential raw material used in the production of iron and steel. Coal occurs in sedimentary basins as coal seams or layers. 4 types of coals are occurring, and in the order of decreasing carbon content, volatile and moisture, coal is classified into 4 varieties. There are 4 types of coal. They are anthracite, bituminous coal, subbituminous coal and lignite. Peat is partially decayed plant matter found in recent swamp deposits. Peat and wood are the basic materials before the formation of lignite. Anthracite is a rare form of coal but the hardest variety of coal. It also contains more carbon and produces more heat than the other varieties of coal. Bituminous coal is the most commonly used coal by the industries. It contains more carbon and produces more heat than either lignite or subbituminous coal. It is also suitable for making coke. Coal contains some sulfur compounds. The sulfur content may be very low or medium or high. Coal is mainly used in thermal power plants. While using it, the one having low sulfur will cause less air pollution. The production of thermal power depends on the ash content of the coal used. Higher the ash content, lower the efficiency of the boiler and the furnaces. Use of coal also generates solid waste and ashes. For every megawatt of energy produced by a thermal plant, about 1 acre of land is needed to dump the waste, especially the ashes. Coal based thermal plant pollutes the atmosphere by gaseous emissions of sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide and produce tremendous amount of solid waste, fly ash and bottom ash. Coal mining, transport, washing, processing, shipping, combustion and final disposal of ash may lead to potentially adverse environmental effects like aesthetic degradation, noise pollution, dust pollution and the release of trace elements into the water, soil and air. Coal is a non-renewable form of energy, the use of which is to be done very economically. The next major source of energy comes from oil. The oil that is derived from the rocks is called as petroleum. Petro means rock, oleum means oil. Petroleum furnishes about 40% of the commercial energy used in the world. It provides most of the energy used for transportation and other activities of the population. In general, petroleum and natural gas are hydrocarbons. They are fossil fuels formed from organic material escaped from complete decomposition after burial. Petroleum is a complex mixture of hydrocarbons containing nitrogen, sulfur and oxygen. The major source of oil and gas is the fine-grained organic rich sediments that are buried to depth below 500 meters or below stagnant oceanic waters. These might have experienced a thrust due to an increase in pressure and heat. The water is deficient in oxygen. Various geological and biological processes have promoted the chemical transformation of these organic materials into hydrocarbons. They tend to migrate through the porous sediments called reservoir rocks. Like coal, oil also contains some impurities that can cause air pollution. But refineries can remove many of these pollutants when they process the petroleum. Natural gas is the most convenient fossil fuel. It causes little or no air pollution. Natural gas is a clean source of energy because it is refined naturally during its formation within the earth and does not require further refining. In addition, it can be compressed into a liquid and transported for a longer distance through pipelines. Natural gas accounts for about 21% of the commercial energy use in the world. Millions of people use natural gas to heat their homes, cook their meals and dry their laundry. Typical gas consists of hydrocarbons having a very low boiling point. Methane, the first member of the paraffin series, makes up to 85% of the typical gas. The following types of gas have been recognized based on their composition: dry or lean gas comprising mostly methane, wet gas is the higher hydrocarbon, sour gas when containing more hydrogen sulfide, sweet gas containing little hydrogen sulfide, residue gas containing higher paraffins for extraction, casing head gas derived from the oil wells at the time of extraction coming out of the surface. Natural gas is used for domestic and industrial applications. The consumption rating for different sectors are varying from application to application. For manufacturing fertilizers, we use about 36% of natural gas. For power generation, we use about 27%. For industrial sectors, about 8%. And for the extraction of liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, or cooking gas, the rest are used. Let us see the use of solar and wind energies. The energy received from the sun's electromagnetic radiation is called as the solar energy. It is also used to produce electric power. This is a non-conventional and renewable energy source. There are two methods through which sunlight can be converted into electric power. They are using photovoltaic conversion methods or solar thermal conversion methods. It is reported that the solar energy falling on the earth every 29 seconds is equivalent to that of the human energy requirement for a day. It comes from the sun and it is plenty. The distribution is sparse. It must be collected and concentrated to produce usable power. This requires some special devices. Hence, harnessing of solar energy is an expensive affair. A typical solar water heater consists of a coil of copper pipe braced to a blackened metal base. This assembly is covered by a transparent glass plate or a plastic sheet. The water which is passed through the coil gets heated up by the radiation. Very high amount of heat is trapped in this process during summer months. Solar energy is also caught to provide power using solar cells. Solar cells are the devices made from crystals of silicon to produce electricity from sunlight. They are called as the photovoltaic cells. Research continues on the application of solar energy for pumping up water, refrigeration, solar ponds and temperature control in buildings. The consumption of solar energy has many advantages like the unlimited supply, no way of producing air, water, thermal and noise pollution, no possibilities of large scale disasters, it conserves the earth's resources, the technology is available for immediate usage. The major disadvantages is the expenditure involved in establishing the solar units. Solar cells are more expensive. They cannot be completely replaced with other fuels. Let us see the wind energy. The rapid depletion of fossil fuels and the increase in environmental pollution call for an efficient use of other energy resources and to identify the alternative sources also. Wind is a powerful agent for providing power. It is the best renewable energy source available on earth. Wind energy can be harnessed very easily. The blow of wind is allowed to rotate the blades of a windmill which is coupled to a turbine. This drives a power generator and then we can get electricity. There are some merits and demerits of wind energy. The generation period is very low, maybe 5 months. This is because of the seasonal availability of a reasonably useful wind. Power generation starts immediately after commissioning the plant. That is an advantage. Power is cost free, generation is cheaper and the recurring cost is very less. The installation cost is very heavy, but and the maintenance of machinery is also expensive. This is a pollution free and environment friendly generation of power. A wind power plant is also a source of income. A wind power generator of 200 kilowatt or 250 kilowatt generates at an average of 6 to 7 lakh units of electricity every year. Let us see the energy from biogas. Biogas is the methane gas produced or released from the organic waste like sewage, garbage, manure or crop residues. These are decomposed substances in the absence of air. This is similar to that of the natural gas in origin. Biogas can be collected using a container filled with the waste and closed at the top with a tap for trapping the gas. The wastes are mostly animal excreta or dungs which are allowed to decay and decompose naturally inside the container. After producing the gas, the used up materials can be used as a high quality organic manure in the croplands. Community biogas plants, industrial biogas plants, night soil biogas plants, family size biogas plants and improved chulas are some of the bioenergy sources employed and are under operational conditions in several parts of the world. In addition to biogas, biomass is also a good fuel. Biomass fuel is the common name given to all forms of fuel generating organic remains. These organic matter can be burned directly or indirectly as a fuel. A well known popular biomass is the fuel wood. Wood was used as a major source of energy in several parts of the world. Firewood is the best known biomass fuel. Cow dung or cattle dung is burnt for cooking purposes. The distillation of biomass is also done to produce alcohol which acts like a fuel. There are three major sources as forest products, unused agricultural products and urban waste. The main advantage is that the biomass under several conditions can be recycled. The main disadvantage is the requirement of an energy for processing the biomass into a convenient form of energy. Biomass energy is available locally, especially from the sugarcane farms and sugar production plants. The straw and the dust of these industries can be of very good help as a fuel. The main disadvantage is that the consumption of biomass fuel can produce air pollution, smokes, ashes and sometimes degrade the environment and land. Let us see the energy from water. Hydroelectric power generation is a major source of energy over the globe for several decades. Water power furnishes about 7% of the world's commercial energy. Water costs nothing but cannot be used up and it supplies energy without pollution. However, water power projects require a dam or a reservoir which are very expensive. A hydroelectric power plant can operate only where water flows from a higher altitude to a lower altitude. In several hilly and mountainous terrain, establishment of hydroelectric power plants on perennial rivers has contributed to the major electricity sources of many countries. Hydropower is a renewable energy source. Historically, water wheels were used to generate mechanical energy to run mills and machineries. Water power is a clean power. It requires no burning of any fuel. These power generators do not pollute the atmosphere or the hydrosphere. Hydroelectric power is also combined with thermal power plants. With this combination, the thermal power plant can supply power if the hydroelectric power is affected by drought. Let us see the power generated by tides. Tides and waves can generate enormous energy for consumption. The tides which are dashing against the shores continuously can generate the tidal power. This can be obtained by using a tidal dam built with a turbine. This is more expensive when compared to the hydroelectric power installations. In high tide zones, such provisions help in harnessing tidal power. There is also a limitation that it can produce electricity only at certain times of a year. Let us see the energy from nuclear and other sources. Many of the environmentally conscious countries in the world depend on nuclear power for their electricity generation. At present, about 17% of the world's electricity is generated through nuclear sources. Nuclear source is clean, compact and concentrated. Nuclear power plants are similar to coal plants in that heat is used to produce steam to drive a turbine, but the basic difference between them is the atomic fission instead of chemical combustion. A nuclear reactor requires a fuel substance whose nuclei can undergo fission. Such substances are called fissionable substances. Uranium-235 and Plutonium-239 are the widely used fuels. In addition to the fuel, reactors require neutrons. These are the stimulators for chain reactions. Safety, design and operation of reactors depend on the way by which these neutrons are managed. Nuclear reactors are classified based on the fuel, coolant and moderator used to support the nuclear chain reactions. The natural concentration of uranium in the Earth's crust is about 2 ppm. Uranium originates in magma. It is concentrated to about 4 ppm in granitic rocks, pegmatites and other rocks. They also occur in large number of minerals. They are called as rare earth minerals or radioactive minerals. They contain uranium or thorium as an essential part of their chemical composition. Some of them are oxides and complex oxides. The disposal of nuclear waste, some radioactive liquids, gases will affect the environment severely. Sources are also available in the form of fuel bundles which once loaded into the reactors can provide energy enormously. Nuclear reactor core can provide energy for 1 to 2 years at a stretch before discharge. 1 kg of uranium gives an energy equivalent to 25,000 kg of coal. In addition to these sources, we do have geothermal energy sources. This refers to the heat energy emanating from the Earth's interior, which could be used for heating or for generating electricity. The production of geothermal energy can occur only in areas where hot rocks lie near the Earth's surface. Iceland, Italy, Japan, the Philippines, New Zealand and the United States have developed quite a lot of geothermal power plants. The method is simple. By installing a pipe into the wells drilled over the regions of geothermal sources and connect them to a turbine. In conclusion, energy is needed for the present and future generations. Earth has various sources of energy. The non-renewable energy depletes very quickly due to the pressure of population. Harnessing renewable energy is the prerequisite for our future survival. Energy saved is the energy produced is a common slogan of the modern society. Let us save energy and use it appropriately.